Hello everybody and welcome to your 111 portal video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Madison. I do Akashic Records readings. I also do Reiki energy healing, and I am also a medium. So in today's episode, we are talking about the perfect reset for the new year. And what we're doing is we're not just going in and saying, here's my vision board. We're actually going to take some time to reflect on the year that we just closed out, release some of those things that need to stay there, and then really take the time to invite our spirit guides in and visualize what this new year needs to be for us. From there, we're going to be doing some journaling, and I'm actually going to show you guys how I scheduled the first 5 months of my year based on my yearly goals. And so we'll kind of go through that whole process, but really what we're focused on here is what is for my highest good, not my ego's highest good. And that's hard because a lot of times, especially if you're an entrepreneur, what your ego could want in your business and what is actually for your highest good could be very different depending on what your value system is, right? So if you have not done your new year, new me, this is the perfect time for it. You can also do this with a spouse or a friend. So you can pause and do this together with them, or you can send it if you want to just kind of be doing the same thing. So before we get started, we are going to do just a quick meditation. And with this meditation, we are going to be releasing and calling in. So go ahead, and if you need to pause the video to get comfortable, go ahead and do that. And then whenever you are ready, you can press play and we will do a short meditation. So whenever I meditate, I always love to start by just doing a few clearing breaths, just really inhaling through the nose. Big exhale. 2 more. Allow yourself to relax deeper into the chair, the couch, wherever you are. Allow your shoulders to drop, allow your jaw to unclench. And what we're going to do is we're going to visualize ourselves standing in sort of the middle of a portal. It's almost like as you're looking forward, you're seeing this portal into 2026. And as you're looking backwards, you're seeing maybe a representation of things that happened last year. Maybe it's things you need to let go of. Maybe it's people you need to release. Maybe it's relationships that are no longer serving you. But what I want you to do is I want you to invite your spirit guides in. If you know who they are, that's amazing. If you don't, you can just say, hey, spirit guides, please come join me for this. And what we're going to do is we are going to release the lows of 2025 and sit in the highs of 2025. And we're just going to hang out there before we step through the portal into 2026. So invite your spirit guides in, release the lows, and reminisce on the highs. All right, if you need to stay in that space and just continue releasing 2025, you can. Just pause the video. And if you are ready to step into the portal of 2026, we're going to do that eyes closed, meditative state. Invite your spirit guides in and say, hey, spirit guides, can you walk with me into the portal that is 2026? And can you show me what this year is going to look like if I'm operating on my highest timeline and operating on what's good for me rather than what's good for my ego? Just allow whatever experience comes through to unfold. All right, whenever it feels good for you, go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Slowly come back into the body. And then what you might want to do is you might want to pause the video, So you can go get a notebook, a journal, a trifold board, a calendar, whatever works for you. This is what I'm going to be showing you guys is my planning. So whatever you want to do to get into that, that's what we're going to use. If you need to pause, come back, do that now. So now that you have your journal, what we're going to do is we are going to break down the different areas that we are going to be wanting to accomplish things in the new year. So we are going to do one area for personal and spiritual things that we want to accomplish or experience, whatever that looks like. This could be things like I want to personally go to the Conscious Life Expo and see some speakers that I really enjoy. So that's just one thing that's going to be really good. I know for my personal and spiritual development that doesn't necessarily fall under the business category. It's more like me as a person, right? Then I also want you to focus on a mental category. For me, the mental category is figuring out how to thrive as a business owner with ADHD. So some days it's challenging for me to figure out how to manage my time and put my energy into the right things. So really for me, trying to figure out how to manage my ADHD to where it's a superpower rather than a limitation. And I plan to do that through various people that I already follow on social media that talk about how to manage ADHD and entrepreneurship. So, one physical thing that I would like to do is I would like to run a half marathon. It sounds super cheesy, I know, but how cool would it be? And there's also so many beautiful half marathons. Like, you can run a half marathon in Glacier National Park. So, that is definitely something that I want to do. Then put a relationship category. So for me this year, a big piece of my relationship was being present, being in the moment, being off my phone, enjoying the present moment rather than always fixating on the future. And that's a hard thing to do. I want you to break down a hobby category. So for me, I have two things in my hobby category. I want to ski a black run. I've never skied a black run. I've only skied greens and blues, and I'm getting comfortable enough with the blues that I'm like, I could see this year being the year that I try a black. Probably a North Carolina black, not like a Colorado black. They're different, you know? But that's one thing on the hobbies. The other is I want to scuba dive. And I've wanted to scuba dive for a long time, but I've never had the confidence because I have this like huge fear of sharks. And I decided this is the year I'm going to conquer the fear, scuba dive. I don't know where. I really feel drawn to Hawaii and I also feel drawn to Australia. So if you guys have any comments or opinions on that, would love to know your feedback if you've done it. Okay, last two categories we're going to write down financial. And here's the thing whenever you think financial, I don't want to be realistic because fuck that. The universe isn't on a budget, give me more mentality. But also, if you're going to put down an amount of money, you need to be thinking about where that money's coming from. For example, if you have a 9 to 5 job in accounting and you make $80,000 a year, and you're like, this year I want to manifest $1 million, you need to have a plan, right? Because manifestation is fabulous and is wonderful and it's great to say this is the intentionality, but you need to say, if I want to manifest this money, where could it be coming from, right? Am I open to new opportunities? All of that, where you might be able to say there's a big gap and how am I going to sort of get there? And maybe you don't know the answer. Maybe you're just going to leave that up to the universe and say, universe, I don't know how I'm going to close that gap, but allow me the opportunities where I'm able to fulfill my highest timeline, my highest soul purpose, and I'm able to live in abundance at the same time. So that's really what I would focus on there. Last area is business or career. If you're an entrepreneur, business goals for the year. If you are a career driven person, career goals for the year. And this could also include like if you're switching jobs and you have no idea what the F you're trying to do, like figuring out what you enjoy and where you actually want to spend your time and energy this year. So what I would do is those are all the categories you're going to go through. So what I did when I did this is I called in all my spirit guides. I said, hey guys, same spirit guides we just called in for meditation. I want to look at this year from the perspective of what's in my highest good, not my ego's highest good. And what does that look like in all these different areas? And then I literally went through and I made lists for every area. Then once I had those lists, I started to put those things on the calendar in the first 5 months. Everything that's on my list is being somehow having a step forward in the first 5 months of the year. I'll show you guys what I did. I saw this person that did this and I loved it. So instead of a traditional giant calendar, they did a trifold board. And so you can see I've only got like half my trifold, but you get it. So here's how I have mine. Is a lot of mine is focused around things that I want to implement. So I have my 2025 goals here. I have all the goddesses we're covering this year in a sacred circle that I do with one of my friends. I have goals for each month. I have a series that I want to start in February. I have a ton of different things that I'm wanting to work with. And so what this looks like is everything that I want to do, I'm putting that on the calendar in some capacity. So for example, I want to run a half marathon this year. I also want to ski the black runs in the ski season. So that means I'm probably going to be skiing quite a bit till realistically March. So I don't want to put starting my half marathon training plan until April, maybe March, depending on how late the ski season goes. But I can't ski multiple days a week and train for a half marathon. It's just not practical, right? So April, I'm putting start half marathon 12-week training plan. So that means April, May, June. By July timeframe, I should be in a space to be able to run that half marathon. Another thing is I would like to go back to school for metaphysics, which is a crazy thing to say because I actually have degrees from when I was in my 3D matrix job. I did HR for 10 years and I actually have a master's degree in HR. And I always thought like I will never entertain the education system ever again, but I've really been drawn to go through the University of Metaphysics to start learning more about consciousness and really just understanding a lot more quantum and metaphysical concepts that I don't fully understand as somebody who's very spiritual and connected, but wants that additional layer of knowledge, right? So my goal is to enroll by the end of February. So I have a sticky note on here, enroll in Metaphysics University, right? Another thing is for scuba diving, I have a little sticky on the calendar that's like book scuba diving. So in the first 5 months of the year, I'm going to go ahead and commit and book that trip. So everything is accounted for on here. There's a lot more goals than that, but those are just some of the examples of how I accounted for them all here. Here are some of the things that you can do to keep this up, because we all do this stuff at the beginning of the year and then we forget, we get off track, whatever. I get it. I do the same thing. First of all, we are putting this baby where we can see it, whatever it is. Put it somewhere you can see it so you do not forget about it. Do a weekly or monthly check-in with yourself. So for me personally, I have a weekly check-in that I do just with myself to try to figure out like what do I need to do this week from personal, from business, family, whatever. This board is now part of that. So whenever I went to go do my check-in for this week, I opened it. I was like, okay, what do we have for goals for this month? Are we doing those things? What do we have for any things we need to kind of check off the big list? And now it's all starting to come together, right? The other thing is have an accountability partner. If you sent this to one of your friends and you want you guys to hop on a monthly FaceTime call where you're like, hey, where are you at with your goals? Here's where I'm at. Where are you at? Something like that I think is really, really helpful, because then we have oh, well, I'm doing it not only for me, but I'm also doing it so I can, share it with somebody else and maybe have that help or encouragement to reach that next level. So this is the perfect activity for the 111 portal, which if you know about numerology or angel numbers, the ones are all about new beginnings and new manifestations coming to life. So it's the perfect portal to do this. I always say the portal normally runs about a week before, a week after. So if you're seeing this, let's say from the day that it's posted, I think it's going to get posted on the 8th to the, let's say, 18th. Anytime during that period, any year, it doesn't have to be 2025 that you stumble upon this. That's going to be your ideal time to do this, but obviously you can do it anytime that you just need like a fresh reset for the year or just for the month or whatever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Also, you can get all this stuff at Dollar Tree. I got all this stuff at Walgreens, but Dollar Tree, Walgreens, easy and accessible. So I hope this helps and gives you guys some insight into the new year. I will see you all in the next episode. And as always, happy